Hey everyone, this time on Tim Talks Audio, we're checking out the latest from Purified Audio. This is the Death Western Amp Sim. Death Western is the latest single and album from the band SpiritWorld, and during the process, they got some really great guitar tones, so they captured a lot of it and turned it into an amp sim that you guys can use at home to get similar or very different kinds of sounds. The song you're going to hear today is actually something I wrote inspired by this amp sim to show just a taste of some of the different tones you can get with this amp sim. So let's dive into the DAW and take a look at the Death Western. Okay, so here is the Death Western amp sim by default. When you first pull it up, this is exactly how it looks. So it's really basic. There's not a ton going on here. As you can tell, the bottom 2/3 looks like an amp head. It looks like it has Toilex. It looks like it has this grill cloth here. It has all of the general looks of an amp. But then on top, you have just very generic kinds of things. Input control, output control, and you can balance your ins and outs. This also has a gate, so if you wanted to engage a gate, maybe you're going for something really heavy with lots of gain, and you don't want all that extra noise, it has a noise gate built right in. And just clicking on or off will turn it on or off, and the dial above it just sets where the noise starts and the actual tone should start. That's your cutoff for the gate. Next to that is a boost pedal. Again, you can just turn this on and off by clicking on it. There's no adjustments, it's just boost. You guys know, or you probably know, a boost pedal before an amp really helps tighten things up. So if you're doing something a little bit heavier, having the boost on might help tighten things up. Or you put the boost on in a solo just to give you a little cut more, just to push a little bit harder. After that is the cab IR. This is the impulse response that is built into this amp sim. But if you want, you could turn this off. And then after this amp sim, load up whatever kind of IR impulse reader or impulse response convolution reverb is really technically what it is. But any kind of amp speaker sim you can put after this, but it has a cab IR built right in. And then the bottom half, this is the actual amp. There's two different kinds of settings for the amp itself. The high gain channel and just the crunch channel is selected here, with 50 being crunch and 53 more of the high gain. Gain control, bass, mids, treble, master. These are all pretty straightforward. EQ section in the middle, gain and master output. Not to be confused with output up here. They are a little bit different. So maybe you have a very high gain and your master's down, but then you can bring the output up to kind of get it in the right ballpark. I think that makes sense. Cool. And really, that's it. There's nothing else going on here. Yes, you can change the UI size. I have it at its largest right now for you guys, but this is it. This gives you all of the tones that you're looking for. So what we're going to do is actually get into some of those tones. I'm going to close this one out and remove it because this is just the default one for you guys. You can see I have another one set up on this track, and I have 4 guitars going on. That's these green tracks right down here, and each single one has Death Western. These first 2 are the rhythms, and they are doing very similar kinds of things. We're on the crunch channel here. Gain is pretty low, but there's still some nice grit to it. Bass is right up the middle. I've pushed the mids because I wanted those to come forward a little bit more, and I gave it a little treble, but I really didn't do much else. I took the boost off, left the noise gate on, left the cab IR that's built into this amp on this. The same settings for guitar 2. I'll show you. So that was guitar 1. Here's guitar 2. It's just smaller, but gain a little bit, bass up the middle, mids boosted, treble just a little bit more. Like I said, exactly the same. And this is just a DI guitar. My guitar plugged into my interface straight into the DAW. So on its own, this is what it sounds like. And with Death Western turned on, so that's our rhythms. It's kind of crunchy, kind of chuggy, not really a lot going on. So we'll take these out of solo, and you can see I have them hard left and hard right. There's minor volume differences because I did change which guitar I was using. The one that's on the left-hand side is my Epiphone Les Paul, plugged straight in, and the right guitar is my Epiphone 339. plugged straight in. Both of those were using the rhythm or neck pickup just to give me like a duller kind of sound. But you can hear we're still getting a lot of articulation, especially with the gain coming off this amp. Then everything else is the Les Paul again, and we're on the bridge or the treble pickup for these two leads that I did. I'm going to turn Death Western off, but I am going to show you what I did. This is lead number 1, and it's really more of like octaves. So I am on the 53. I cranked the gain on this. I brought the bass down, just a little mid and treble boost, and master I didn't touch. The boost pedal is on, noise gate's on, cab IR. Cool. So this is the octaves or lead 1. And then for lead 2, which is this guy right here, I'm going to show you exactly what I had going on there. It's probably exactly what I had on the other one. No, it's not. I switched this actually over to more of the crunch channel, but I have the gain way up. But then you can also see that the EQ is pretty much the same. I wanted it to sound a little bit different. So here is lead number 2. Here's just the DI, and then a couple of seconds in, we'll turn on Death Western. And that's it. Really straightforward. Of course, I started writing a song and I enjoyed doing everything I was doing within this song. So I have a bass here, which I'm just using stock Ampire in Studio One, so the amp sim that's built right in here. And I have a little saturation going on and a little bit of other bass control. And then I also have programmed drums using Steven Slate drums and a little bit of processing going on over there. But for the guitars, I'm just using the Death Western amp sim. They are going into a bus where I'm using the Purified VU comp to give me a little squeeze. We're using the 3A on this, and it's followed up with a little bit of saturation, like an API style saturation, and then that's followed up by even more saturation. So if I turn all of these things off and just play the guitars for you, this is how that sounds with Death Western on. And then if I do my bus processing, here's how it sounds. And now the really important part, how does this sound within a mix? Now, when we say mix, this is a demo. There's 4 guitars, a bass, and programmed drums. I am doing some guitar bus processing, and I am doing just the tiniest bit of mix bus processing. And by mix bus, I mean there's like a little bit of compression and a clipper just in case. I'm not even really hitting the clipper. Here's the whole mix with Death Western on all of the guitars. So there it is. That is Death Western from Purified Audio. I also want to do a special shout out to the guys of SpiritWorld and Sam Pura for making this album, making this amp sim, and making this available to all of you. As of today, the release of this video, this is now available. So use the link down in the description. Go pick up your copy to add to your arsenal of amp sims, because this thing really can do a lot of different things. So there really is a lot of versatility with just this one amp sim. That's all for now. If you found anything informative, please like and share the video. To join the community, jump into the Discord, link down below. If you want to have your songs mixed by me, check out timflansbaum.com. And if you have a question, ask it in the comments and I'll answer it in a future video. Thanks for watching.